start with our verb review as usual, and then we'll jump right into our lesson as more people arrive. But let's start as usual with the good old verb review. Oh, there's Claudia coming in. All right, let me see here. And then I got to find my verb warm-up. Here it is right here. Okay. Can everybody see the paper?
Yes.
Yes.
Good, good, good.
Hello, good evening.
All right. Leonardo, how are you doing tonight? Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Good, good. Glad to hear it. All right. Here we go on a Wednesday night. Wednesday, the 20th of May. All right. So the file I sent you was called 0520 Review. And we have, the first word is enjoy. That's one of our classics, right?
Yep.
Enjoy plus gerund or infinitive?
And
Jordan.
Gerund, right.
Gerund.
So we're going to say roller skating.
Roller skating.
I really enjoyed roller skating last weekend. The next one has the word ever. So should we say does, is, or has?
Had.
Has, right. Has Yolanda ever done her homework at the library? Now, number 3, looky. No subject. No subject. When we want an action to be the subject, what do we want to do?
Coming.
Coming or to come. Coming or to come. The next one says at present. At present is the same as right now, right? So should we say do or are?
Are.
Are. Right. Are the workers digging a hole? Are digging. The next one we have hate. Hate is one of those where it's hard to make a mistake, right? I can use a gerund. I can use an infinitive. No problem. So I can say hates what? Hates to arrive or hates arriving. Both are fine, no problem.
Oh.
When you have hate, you can use both. All right. Welcome, students who just arrived. Nice to see you, although I don't see you. I will see you in a minute. Let's see. The next one, we have something that's going to happen next week. So for next week, what would we say?
Is going to send.
Yeah, will send or is going to send. For me, I would probably say is going to, because it sounds like a plan.
No, it's going to.
But will is fine. Again, going to in spoken English is much more common than will. We use going to all the time.
Yes.
All right. The next one is about tomorrow again. So again, I could say will, but probably in spoken English, I'm more likely to say
Are going.
Are you going to?
Are you going to invite? Right. Are you going to invite your friends to your house after class tomorrow? Are you going to invite them? The next one says for several weeks. That means from the past to the present. From the past to the present. So what can we say? We
haven't
seen Francisco.
We haven't seen Francisco for several weeks. Haven't seen. Here's one that we had in the level 3 class. When we have TOO, too tired, too busy, too hungry. What do we need? Gerund or infinitive?
Gerund.
Infinitive.
Infinitive, right? Too tired to wash the dishes. Right? I can't wash the dishes. I'm too tired to wash the dishes. Right? Remember, too busy to help you. I'm too tired to finish my homework. I'm too sleepy to watch this TV program, right? When we have TOO, just remember 2 and 2. One has 2 O's, one has 1 O, but they're this. I'm too tired, 2. I'm too busy, 2. I'm too hungry, 2. Demasiado, right? All right. Now the next one is another one that was in level 3. It says, I called my brother. ¿Por qué? Why did you call your brother?
To borrow.
To borrow the ladder.
Borrow.
Exactly. To borrow the ladder. And remember, in a case like this, I can add the words, oops, if I can type correctly. In a case like this, I can add the words in order to, if I want to.
Mr. Wade, I have a question on number 9. So when I say I had to wash or I had to washing,
I have to wash. Mhm.
to wash. I remember a few days ago I think we did the same verb. And I put wash, and for some reason we changed to washing.
For too tired?
Yeah, for wash. For the verb wash. So when I say
Well-
I washing the dishes, so I had to washing the dishes.
Well, you could say both. I mean, you could say I'm washing the dishes tonight, or I have to wash the dishes tonight.
Oh.
I'm not sure what the one was from a couple days ago. Do you have the sentence nearby?
Let's see. No.
No, okay. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Whenever we have TOO, we're gonna use infinitive.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, back to business here. This one, classic present continuous, right? Right now. So should we say isn't or doesn't?
Now,
Is
John,
Isn't.
John
not
is listening.
Isn't listening.
Oh,
Right.
isn't
isn't listening.
Present continuous. John isn't listening to the radio right now.
it's not.
Now the next one says the students in groups of 4 many times before. Many times before. So should we say work, are working, have worked? What do you want to say?
Hard work.
Have
Had to
worked.
work.
All right.
Hard. HAD.
Have worked.
Oh, have.
Work.
Have worked. Present perfect. Right? When I say I have done this many times before, I have seen that many times before, I have gone there many times before. Many times before, present perfect.
Work.
Now the next one has the word how often. How
Does.
often is in general, right? So I agree with Armando, does.
Does the teacher.
Because we're asking about frequency. How often does the teacher make you do homework? How often does he make you do the homework? The next one has the word recommend.
To spend.
To spend.
Infinitive?
To spending?
Gerund, right? I don't recommend spending a lot of money on clothes. Remember, suggest and recommend are both with gerunds. Suggest and recommend, both gerunds.
Suggest and recommend.
Suggest and recommend. I suggest buying your tickets today. I recommend
With gerund.
studying for the test. Right? Recommend and suggest are both gerund. Yeah. Or you can use what we call a subjunctive. I recommend that you study. I recommend that you work hard. I suggest that you buy a new car. Right? So that's called a subjunctive form. So you have 2 possibilities with recommend.
Okay.
The next one is a how long question about your grandfather. So what could we say there? How long?
Has your grandfather been retired?
Exactly, present perfect. Has been. The next one, this is true for many people this year, I guess. No vacation until next year, right? So what can we say?
On,
Mr. Me hasn't taken.
Haven't
He's taking.
take.
No, haven't taken would be until now. We want to say until next spring. Remember, present perfect is until
Won't
now.
take.
This is
Won't
until
take.
next spring. Won't take, right?
Won't take.
one,
Take or isn't taking,
isn't take,
isn't going to take.
is not going to take.
Any of those are okay. The next is the word avoid.
Drinking,
Jared, drinking, right? He avoids drinking soda. He thinks it's not healthy. Avoid plus gerund, right? Remember, avoid, stop, finish, cancel, postpone. All of those words use gerunds.
mhm.
All right. The next one is a question about tomorrow.
Will,
Mhm.
will
Or
friend help?
Will your friends help us, or are your friends going to help us? That would both be fine. Dislike is the next one. Gerund or infinitive for that?
Infinity.
Gerund. Being,
Yeah.
right? Dislike. Remember all those emotions we want to use a gerund. I dislike, I appreciate, I enjoy doing something. All right, the next one says need. That's a classic from level 2. Need what? Need,
No.
should we say to interview or interviewing?
To interview.
interviewing.
To interview, right? Need
interview?
to.
Need to interview.
Remember those potential actions in the future, we want to use the infinitive. Need to, want to, hope to, have to, would like to in the future.
Interview. Oh, to interview.
All right, the next one says, since he was a teenager. That's classic present perfect, isn't it?
Hasn't drunk.
Hasn't drunk.
Hasn't
Drunk.
Hasn't drunk.
drunk. Hasn't drunk, present perfect. The next one says, if I have any questions, I'm tomorrow. This is a classic conditional, right? We have over here. So what are we going to say over here?
I will.
I will call tomorrow.
I will call you
Will
tomorrow.
call you.
I will call.
There's that. And the next one says, I'm very early yesterday morning. What can we say for that one?
I woke up.
I woke up, right? Simple past. The next one has a be verb, this
I
year.
woke up.
This year, and it is
Was
singular, right? Singular. So what grade?
Does
Will be
was your daughter?
Well, this year is
Will.
still going on, right? The year's not over yet.
Oh,
So maybe just is, right?
Yeah. Is
What grade is your daughter in this year? Be verb present tense is. And last one, 25. I'm in a waterbed. Are they comfortable? What can we say there?
I have never slept.
I have
I have never slept. Exactly. Have never slept. All right. Preguntas, problemas. No, everybody's fine?
Yes.
All right. Let's see what beautiful students I have here tonight. Looks like we have 8 people so far tonight. We have Armando and Edith and Julio and David Segovia, David Azuela, Claudia, Tita. Is Tita quién? Rita?
no, Tita.
Tita who?
I think it's a new student teacher.
A new student.
Student.
Tita, are you there? Hello, Tita.
Tita.
We want to see the new student.
Her microphone is off.
It's a secret student.
She passed level 3, teacher.
Okay. Okay. That
Yeah.
sounds fine to me. Oh, she moved up, huh?
I bring her in.
Oh, you're
Oh.
the recruiter.
Yes.
Okay. You are to blame for this. Okay. Well, welcome, Tito. Nice to see you. Not really. We see your name, but nice to have you here. All right. So last night, what did we talk about? We talked about mostly have to, have got to, must, are supposed to, right? Talking about things that are necessary or not necessary or prohibited, right? So I'm not going to repeat everything from the last lesson, but we're going to mix it up a little bit. And tonight we're going to move on and we're going to start tonight where we stopped last night. And that's with giving advice. Giving advice. Remember, all of the words we were using last night, we were not giving our opinion, right? When we talk about have to, have got to, and be supposed to, it's not our opinion. It's either the rule or the law or something that's necessary for our life, right? So for example, all children must go to school, except now, right? Except now. They must turn on their computer every morning, I guess. So those are things that are not opinions. They are necessary or laws or obligations of some kind, responsibilities. Nobody's talking about what's good or bad or a good idea or a bad idea. But tonight I want to talk about giving advice. When I want to say something is a good idea, or when I want to say something is a bad idea. Good idea, bad idea. We started to look at it a little bit at the end of the class yesterday with should and shouldn't. But I want to add a bunch more to it tonight. So we have a whole list of words that we can use when we give advice. Because sometimes you have really strong opinion. And sometimes your opinion is, it's okay, whatever. So we need a few different words to use to separate the advice we're going to give. So I am going to jump right in and do my presentation first, and then we're going to practice a little bit after that. So I'm going to share this and start from, let's see. The current slide, okay. All right, there's Noel. Okay, and push the button here, current slide. All right. Can everybody see the slide? Giving advice?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, very good.
Yes.
All right, what does it say here? It says, we use various forms when we want to indicate that an action, in our opinion, is a good idea. Let's take a look. Example, everyone ought to have an earthquake kit for emergencies. Yeah, we learned that the hard way, didn't we, this year, right? When we went to the store for toilet paper the first time, we said, what is going on here? Right? Yeah, my brother was in the military for many years. And he told me, I have 30 days of food and I have 30 days of water. I'm ready for anything. And I said, oh, you're silly. and then the pandemic came and nobody could buy toilet paper and he was laughing at me. So everyone ought to have an earthquake kit for emergencies. Is it the law? No. But is it a good idea? Yes. What time should we meet tonight? What time is good for you, right? What time should we meet tonight? You had better call the landlord right away about the problem. If you want to lose weight, you could try a low-carb diet.
Had better.
why don't you take a computer class next semester? Fix something here real fast. Just give me a second. Whenever I see little mistakes, I want to fix them right away. All right, so back to, okay. All right, so again, each of these is a little bit different, right? So if you say you could, or you should, or you had better, you're saying something a little bit different. So you have to be aware of the little differences. They're all for giving advice, but they're just a little bit different. So we have to look at them one by one to make sure we understand, right? The most popular, of course, should. Debería in Spanish, right? Right, so what do I say? Deberías comprar un nuevo carro. Maybe. Is that good Spanish? Is that good Spanish?
Spanish,
Yes,
yes.
teacher.
I don't know.
Perfect.
You're getting better.
don't
You're
laugh.
getting better and better.
Don't laugh at my Spanish. That's not right. I'm a very, very sensitive person about my Spanish ability. All right.
Your Spanish is better than our English, teacher.
I don't think so. I don't think so. All right. No creo. All right. Let's see. It says here, should is the most common way to give advice. It indicates the best idea to solve the problem or act in a situation, right? Whenever you use should, you don't have 5 or 6 ideas. You have one idea. This is the best thing to do, right? We're going to see other words where we might have 2 or 3 different suggestions. But when we have should, it's like, this is my best idea. Example, kids should get plenty of exercise every day. Difficult in this time of pandemic, but maybe they can run around the block a few times. How long should I cook the pasta? Question, right? You really shouldn't be late for a job interview. It looks bad, right? So we have affirmative, question, negative. And notice, what's the verb every time? Base verb, base verb, base verb. Right? We always use should with the base. Could. Could is a little bit different. When I use could, I have several suggestions. Right? I don't have just one idea. I want to give somebody some options. These are your options. Now remember, when do we use could back in level 2? Remember when we were in level 2 when we used could? What was it? Past ability, right? For example, I could swim when I was a kid. Right? This could is different. This could is for the future. Let me show you some examples here. Right? If your advice is not so strong, if there is more than one option, you can use could to indicate a suggestion or an option. Alberto says, what should we do tonight? He wants some advice. And his wife says, well, we could see a movie, or we could try that new Italian restaurant on Bender Street. Or maybe we could just stay home and watch the baseball game on TV, right? This person doesn't have a strong opinion. This person has several ideas. You could. Yeah, if you remember in your level 3 book, we had a lesson about should and could. You had a lesson about should and could. In fact, why don't I bring that up right now if I can? Let's see here. Let me show you that from level 3, just to remind you. ¿Dónde está? Okay, hold on. Okay, 1 second. Here we go. Okay, well, let me open it up again and then go down here. I just want to remind you what we had in the level 3 book. I can find it somewhere. There it is. All right, the level 3 book is coming up slowly. Hopefully it will be up soon. Here it is. All right, so let me show you, if I can. All right, let me see here. All right. Oh yes, here we go, shopping. Here we go. All right, this was from the level 3 book. If you took a level 3 class with ventures, remember the difference between could and should. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Yes.
What page?
This is in the level 3 book, page 86, not the level 4 book, the level 3 book. If you have a level 3 book, you can look at it. Otherwise, just look at the screen, right? Notice we use could for give suggestions. We use should to give stronger advice. So, example, you could get a small car and save money. He could put his money into a savings account. It's a suggestion, but it's not very strong. On the other hand, what should I do? You should open a savings account. That's stronger. That's stronger. So actually, since we're here, why don't we just practice right here and decide if it's better to use should or could, right? My rent is going up today. What should I do? Here's my advice. You're a good tenant. I think you should talk to your landlord. Pretty strong, right?
Yeah.
Right? I have to fix my credit. What should I do? Which do you think is better here?
You should.
Should or maybe could, right? It should talk to a debt counselor. He can help you. The next one says, can you suggest a nice restaurant? It's my wife's birthday. Now here we have
You
could try Chow's, or how about Anita's, right? 2 ideas. All right, the next one. It's my niece's 16th birthday. What could I get her? Why don't you get her some concert tickets? Or you could buy her a CD, right? My advice is not strong. These are just ideas. When you're just giving somebody ideas, we use could. All right, let's see. The vocational school is very expensive and I cannot afford it. Can you give me some advice? Well, you are a good student. I think you should apply for a scholarship, right? That's my advice for you, right? It's stronger. I need a new car. Where do you suggest I look for one? How about looking in the newspaper? Or you could look online. Again, I don't have a strong opinion. I'm just giving you ideas. When we have ideas, could, right? Okay, you want to watch a movie tonight? Sure, let's watch a movie. What do you want to watch? Well, we could watch an action movie, or we could watch a comedy, or we could watch a documentary. What do you like, right? Could. All right, how about the next one? I got another parking ticket. It's getting harder and harder to park around this neighborhood. I think you should sell the car, right? I'm debería vendía, right? All right.
Good Spanish.
Okay, there we go. I'm going to be in New York City in July. Any ideas for things to do? Well, you could see a Broadway show, or you could walk into Central Park, or you could go to the museum. There are so many things to do, right? So could is much less strong, much less of a strong opinion. If you say should, you have one idea and this is best for you. If you say could, you have 2 or 3 different ideas. All right, good. Okay, let me go back to our presentation. Right, so you see in the presentation, can everybody see the slide now?
Yes.
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 Right, Maria has 3 different ideas. So it doesn't make sense for her to say should 3 times because she doesn't want to do all of these things. She just wants to make 3 suggestions, right? How about a movie? Or what about the Italian restaurant? Or maybe just stay home and watch TV, right? Now, another way, and this was in the book a little bit too, another way to make a suggestion is when you say, why don't you? Or you could say, why don't I, or why don't we, right? It's not really a question when you say, why don't you? It's a friendly suggestion. It's usually used in the first or the second person, right? Why don't you? Why don't I? Why don't we? Usually those. Usually I don't say, why doesn't she, or why don't they? Usually when I make a suggestion, I'm including you. So example, why don't we call Emily and Bob and see if they want to meet? It's like, what do you think of my idea? Why don't we? It's like saying let's. Remember when you make a suggestion with let's go. Why don't we go? You look tired. Instead of saying you should take a break, why don't you take a break? Why don't you take a break? I don't feel like cooking tonight. Why don't I just order a pizza for the family? Why don't I? Right? It's not as strong as should. It's just like, what about this? Why don't we do this? Here's my idea. What do you think of my idea? Right? If you say you should, I'm not giving the other person much choice. But if I say, why don't we? It's a little more friendly. If I say we should eat pizza, right? The other person doesn't have much to say. But if I say, why don't we eat pizza tonight? It's a little more friendly. Like I said, it's a friendly suggestion. Why don't we? Why don't you? Why don't I? Ought to. Now, ought to is usually only in spoken English, and it's usually only affirmative. But it's very similar to should. You ought to. You ought to call me. You ought to study hard. You ought to work. For example, you really ought to see a dentist about your toothache. Again, informal English. Felix ought to be more grateful that we are helping him, right? Informal. It's like saying should, but it's not as formal. Everyone ought to drink plenty of water every day. Ought to. And notice, this one is different than could and should, because this one uses the word to. Ought to. Ought to. In negative, almost never. In question, almost never. It's like 97% affirmative. So if someone says, hey, they're offering a computer class for the summer. Oh, you ought to take it. And pronunciation, usually I say oughta. You ought to do that. You ought to call me. You ought to work. You ought to work harder. You ought to quit that job. You oughta. You oughta. You oughta. That's the typical pronunciation. You ought to. You oughta. You oughta call me sometime. You oughta. All right. Had better. Had better is another choice when we're giving advice. But had better is very, 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 very strong. It's almost have to. It's almost have to. Right? One final option is to use the phrase had better with the base verb. This is a very serious warning, telling someone that action is important. Right? If I say had better, I'm saying, listen to me. You are going to be sorry if you don't listen to me. For example, you'd better put money in the meter or we will get a ticket. You'd better put money in the meter, right? Again, whenever I say you'd better, there's like a warning. I'm telling you to be careful. You'd better put the money in the meter. And notice it's had better, not have, had. It's it's a very strange form. I'm talking about the present, but I'm using the word had. It doesn't make sense. I agree. It doesn't make sense. You had better do it. Even so, I can say you had better do it tomorrow. Right? It doesn't make sense to say had for tomorrow, but it's correct. But what do we usually say? You better, right? Most of the time we don't even say had. We just say you better do it today. You better call me. Right? There's a very famous song called "You Better You Bet." All right, if you remember that one from the 80s, you'd better not tell anyone my secret. I would die if you did. You'd better not tell. Right? I'm warning you. Right? Whenever I say you'd better, I feel like I should wave my finger at you. You'd better.
Yep.
Or we had better stop at the gas station. We are low on gas. Now, if you remember from the video last night, the statement was, we have to stop at the gas station. Right? Have to is like zero choice, right? If I say had better, there's a little space for you to decide, right? A little space for you to decide. So, remember, had better means that something bad will happen if you don't listen. Something bad will happen if you don't listen. You had better listen to me. You had better. Right? And I always tell students about that famous Christmas song about Santa Claus, right? You remember that one, right? You better not cry, you better not shout, you better not shout, you better not cry, you better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. Remember that one?
Yes.
Yes. Well, what is that? What is that song? That song is a big warning to the children, right? The whole song is like saying, listen, kids, if you are bad, Santa's going to give you nothing. Right? This is not a friendly, happy song, because it's like Santa is a Nazi, right? He's watching you very carefully, and he's checking his list, and he's going to make sure you're a nice little boy or a nice little girl, right? It's a warning. You had better not pout. You had better not cry. You had better not shout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town, so get your act together. Yeah. So you better not.
The Christmas before the night.
Right?
The Christmas song.
That famous Christmas song, right? You better not. All right. You ready for some practice?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Let's do 10 practice questions, and then we'll look at the book. Answer these questions with the proper word. Now, this is practice from last night and from tonight. So both nights together. Okay. Tom just talked to his boss. He to work tomorrow. What can we say? Has to, got to, or ought to?
Has to.
Ought,
You like A, B, or C?
ought to.
Is
Has to
B.
work.
Got
Has to work
Has
tomorrow.
to.
Right. Responsibility, right?
Has to.
He has to work tomorrow, right? He's on the schedule. He has nothing to say about it, right?
Yes.
It's not just a good idea. It's he has no choice. He has no choice. He has to work tomorrow.
to.
Right? The boss told him. All right. The next one says you leave now if you want to be on time.
You might leave.
You might. You
Should.
had better.
You might.
Oh, no,
You might.
You might.
You like might?
Yes.
I don't like might.
Why not?
Had better.
Had
Had better.
You
Exactly.
had better.
You had better
Not
leave.
better.
Because it's almost to have to.
Right. It's very close to necessary. Right. The time is running out. You're running out of time. You had better leave now. Right. A warning. A
So
warning.
the answer is A or B, teacher?
B.
B.
Had
Letter
better.
B.
Yeah. The first one, the answer is A, has to. The second one, the answer is
Oh.
B, had better.
Okay.
All right. Number 3. Students come to class with their books.
Must.
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 Yeah,
That's
Should.
Or had
I think should, right? Yeah, it's
option.
But depend what kind of students.
it's a good idea. It's a good idea, right? Right? Like it's not nobody's going to arrest you if you don't have your book, right? But you should come to it with a book, right? You should have a book. You should have a pencil. You should have a eraser, right?
You know, I am more restricted then.
Oh, you're a tough teacher. You're a tough teacher. Yeah. All of these would be acceptable, but I think should is the best one because it's not a real. It's not like it's a law. You must have an ID card, but you should come to class with a book. All right. Let's see. All right. Now here we have 3 choices: 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 10:30. Which one do you like there?
Ought to.
We could see a
Could,
movie.
right? Why could?
cool.
Because we got
three
three
options.
choices.
Three
Two
options.
choices.
3 options, right?
Three options.
When you have options, could is the best choice. Letter C. Could. We could see the movie at 6,
Could,
8,
yes.
or 10:30. Which do you
Could.
prefer? 3 choices, right? 3 choices. Number 5. My doctor says I lose weight and watch my diet.
Have to.
Have to. Necessary, right? Necessary. I have to. Letter C. All right. Number 6. In my opinion, kids watch too much TV.
Shouldn't watch.
Shouldn't, right? It's bad. It's bad to watch too much TV. So shouldn't. Letter A. Good. Jim is 92 years old. He work anymore.
He doesn't
have to.
Doesn't have to, right? It's not necessary. When you're 92, you're retired. Forget it. Take it easy, right? You don't have to work anymore. He doesn't have to work anymore. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. All right, let's try a few more. Here we have ought. So what is the form with ought? A or B or C?
C, I guess. C.
Infinitive, right? We ought to see.
See.
Remember, all of the others use base form, but ought uses infinitive.
Infinitive.
Yeah, we say must go should go, had better go, could go, but we say ought
Oh,
to go, right? That's the key point. Ought is using the
Go.
all right.
To
Children, you play with matches. It is dangerous.
you must not.
You must not.
Must not. No, 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 no. Letter B. You must not play with matches. Bad, right? It's prohibited. You must not. Number 10. Where we go for our next vacation.
Which we
I like that. I like that. Letter B. Where should we go? Oops. There it is. Where should we go for our next vacation? Where should we go?
Where shall we go?
Where should we go to the next vacation? All right. All right. Good, good, good. The end. And the little kitty says, I should study this more. My little,
we too.
the little cat has his work cut out for him. All right. Very good. All right. Let's do some practice. Okay. Let me see if I can. Oops. Wrong button.
should study this more.
All right. Let me push the red button. There we go. Hello, everybody that I didn't say hello to before. I see we have Ching here now. Ching's here, and Maria Ponce de Leon is here, and Noel is here. Nice to see everybody here.
Nice
So
to see you too.
does everybody have a book?
Yes.
No.
Okay, who doesn't have a book?
David Azuela.
Venezuela and
Me, Noel. I do have one.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna put you in separate groups, okay? So you can work with somebody who has a book, okay? All right. So here's what we're gonna do. I want to look at, and I'm gonna share this right now. We're gonna look at it together for a second. Oops, this one, yes. Okay. That's the wrong button. Okay. All right. Let's try again. Let me try screen share. Okay. And I need this button right here. Okay. There we go. All right. Can everybody see the page? A little bit small right now, but let me make it bigger.
This is the 46?
This is page 46. Yes. Now, we did page 46 in class yesterday, right?
Yes.
Yes, we did. So I want to look at page 47 that we're going to practice with a group. Okay.
Okay.
So
That was the purple book, right?
purple book, page 47. Yes.
Okay.
Student book.
So we have 3 people. Carmela and Hugo. What's their situation? They just got married and they just moved to a new town. Chul Mi and Sun Mi, they just had a baby and they only live in a studio apartment. All right, and we have Kevin over here, and Kevin just started his first job and he lives with his parents. So I want you to give suggestions and advice to these 3 people. So what I'm going to do is, we have all of these ideas down here. You don't have to use these ideas if you don't want to, but you can use these ideas to get you started, right? So for example, look at these examples. Carmela and Hugo ought to try to meet new people, right? Try to meet new people. It's a good idea to meet new people, right? So we use ought to. Chul and Sun Mi have to find a new place to live, right? Because they just live in a very small apartment and they just had a baby. Or we could probably say had better for that one, right? They had better find a new place to live, right? And what about Kevin? Can we think of an idea for Kevin? He just started his first job and he still lives with his parents. Do we have a suggestion for him?
He have to live alone?
He have to find a new place to
He,
live.
he has to, or he should.
Oh, he should.
He should.
Sure.
He should
He
find
should.
a new place to live, right? He should find a new place to live. He should look for his own apartment, right? Right. So here are some ideas down here. Obviously, some of them, for example, buy baby furniture, are going to be for certain people. Or meet the neighbors are going to be for Carmela and Hugo, right? Because they just moved to a new place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you into little groups. I want you to look at these three pictures and give one piece of advice for each of them. So if you have 4 people in your group, we're going to have 4 pieces of advice for Carmela and Hugo, 4 pieces of advice for Chul and Sunmi, and 4 pieces of advice for Kevin. Okay, you can use the advice that's down here in this gray box, or you can use any of your own ideas. So for example, I could say, Carmela should buy some pots and pans for the new house, right? Or Hugo ought to tell his wife he loves her every day, etc., etc., etc. Right? So we're gonna. So remember, what are our choices? If something is necessary, what do we say?
Have better.
Have to.
Have to.
Had better.
Had better is another choice. What else can we say? Should.
Should.
If my feeling is not so strong,
Good.
could,
Could.
etc., etc., etc. Okay. You see the ideas up here, right? Should, shouldn't, ought to, have to, don't have to, etc. Okay? So you can use any of those words, or had better, or could, right? Lots of choices. Lots of choices. Okay? All right. So let me see here. I'm going to stop the share here. And let's see. Let me make some rooms here. We'll have 3 rooms here. Okay. And let's see. Edith, you say you don't have a book, and Noel, you don't have a book, right?
I do have a book.
Oh, Noel, you have a book.
Yes.
Okay. So Edith, I'm going to put you with David and Julio and Noel. Okay. So they can help you with the ideas. All right. And let's see, who else doesn't have a book?
David Azuela.
David Azuela doesn't have a book.
But I took a picture.
Oh, you took a picture. So
Yeah,
you got
I have it on my
it.
cell phone.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. All right. So you don't need to worry.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Everybody ready for some practice?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, why not? I'll give it a shot. All
I
right.
think
So give some advice to these 3 people, right? There's 2 couples and 1 single guy. Give them some advice. Use those ideas or use your own ideas. Okay, and let's see, it's 8 o'clock right now. Let's take maybe 5 or 10 minutes and practice. See if everybody in the group can have 1 advice for each group. So we can have 4 advices for what are their names? Armando and
Carmela and Hugo.
Carmela and Hugo, and 2 advices for
Chul and
Sunmi
Sumi.
And Kevin.
and Kevin.
Use 3 groups.
Okay. All right. No problem. So advice for everybody. Okay.
Yes.
No problems. Everybody good?
yes.
All right. I'm going to send you to your room for practice. Okay. Speaking practice. Remember, use it. You depends on your feeling. If you think it's necessary, you say have to. If you think it's very important, you say had better. If you think it's a good idea, you say should. If you think, maybe not, it's not that really important, you could say could. Okay? All right, everybody good? All right, I'm sending you to your rooms for practice. I'll see you, I'll visit every room and then we'll talk together, okay? All right, goodbye, everybody. See you later.
Okay. Carmela and Hugo
Hello.
should meet the neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Carmela and you are what?
Carmela and Hugo should meet the neighborhoods.
Should meet the
Should.
neighbors. Mhm.
Neighbors, sorry, should meet the neighbors.
I like that.
Okay. Chol and Sunny.
Mm-hmm.
Chol and Sunny have to be responsible because they have a baby.
They have to be responsible.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin should follow his parent advice.
Should follow his parents' advice.
Yes.
Okay.
Is
Okay.
it true, Noel?
Yeah, I'm gonna do Carmela and Hugo should make decision by themselves. Is that
Mhm.
correct?
That sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna do the next one. Chill and Sammy should find a new place to live.
For sure. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin had better be responsible.
He better be responsible with his first job for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you guys are doing great. I'm gonna go to the next room. Okay. Good work.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Ask
Isadora?
a lot of questions.
Hola.
Ask.
Hi, teacher.
I'm here.
Hi.
I'm your visitor.
Okay, we are
You
on
have to.
Carmela and Hugo again. We
Carmela and
finished
Hugo.
first time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Remember, you can use any of the words. If you think it's not so important, you could say could. If you think it's very important, you can say had better. If you think it's necessary, you can say have to. Whatever you think about that action. If you think it's not necessary at all, you can say don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Carmela and Hugo, they could start. They could read a book about family.
About parenting.
Yeah.
About family relationships, right? Because they just got married. They
Yes.
could
Mhm.
they could read a book about being a good couple. Mhm. Yeah, possibility, right? Possibility.
Yes.
They should.
Um,
They should meet the neighbor.
They should meet the neighbors. Good idea, right?
Mhm.
they should to learn how to manage the money
They should
because they
learn.
are,
Yes.
That's right. That's right. They're newlywed couple.
yes.
Yes.
They shouldn't.
I've been married 25 years. I'm still practicing how to manage the money. It takes some time for that.
Okay.
Chu and
They
Sue,
shouldn't call parent about every problem.
They shouldn't call their parents about every problem.
Yes.
That's right. That's right.
Uh-huh.
okay, Chu and Sammy, they have to looking for a new apartment
Have to
or
look.
house.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
I agree.
They have to follow the parent advice.
They have to.
Uh-huh.
Or have to.
The parents want that.
I don't know. Have to.
Maybe should, or
They should. They should maybe.
they should, or maybe they don't have to.
They don't have to.
Depends on the parents, I guess. Do the parents give good advice?
Yeah.
They need a parent advice for
So they have to
educate their children.
Okay. Yeah, that's you're a mother, so I know you are saying
Yes.
that. You have to follow my advice. You are.
Teacher, we can say they could looking for the safe area.
They could look for a safer area. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we can say that.
Yeah.
For
But,
the
re-
baby.
but remember, we want base verb. We don't want to say looking. We want to say look.
Oh, they could
They could
They
look,
could look.
look for a safer area to live.
for a safer area to live.
All right. Good. I'm going to go visit the next room. Okay. Keep practicing.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Students.
Pero,
Kevin could volunteer at a local organization.
Yeah.
Is correct.
You don't feel so strong about that, right? It's an idea, but it's not so strong. So he could do that if he wants to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's an option that he has. He could volunteer at a local organization
Mm-hmm.
in his free time.
okay. Kevin should follow his parent advices.
Good. Everybody says should because we have kids, right?
Sure.
If you don't have children, you say don't have to follow my parents' advice. If you have children, you say you should follow the parents' advice, right?
No money, no honey.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
No money, no honey.
That's right. That is true. That's a
That's a
rule.
good time. That's a good time. Wait, I have to leave for now.
Oh, okay.
So,
All right.
It
So
was-
we'll see you tomorrow then.
thank you. It's a pleasure. Have a good
All
night.
right.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Teacher.
Take care.
Okay,
Bye.
bye. Teacher.
Bye, guys.
Leo,
Bye. Hi.
your turn.
Carmela and Hugo don't have to volunteer on this or local organization.
They don't have to. It's not necessary, right? Remember when you say don't have to, it means it's okay, but it's not necessary.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's okay, but it's not necessary, right?
No,
Okay.
sure.
I have the other. It's
What do you got?
the same. Chun and Sumi don't have to try to meet a new people.
They don't have to. Not necessary,
Yeah,
but
no. Yeah. The necessary is maybe should meet the neighborhoods.
they should meet the neighbors. Mhm.
Yes, it should.
It's a good
In
idea.
my opinion, it's
Good
a
idea, right?
sure- It's a sure meet to the neighborhood because
Mhm.
if the neighborhood care you.
Yeah.
your
The
family.
neighborhoods,
Exactly.
yeah, it's necessary, but no all new people.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, teacher.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Okay. Maria, one more.
Maria,
Yeah.
one more.
And Hugh and Sumi has they need they should uh take the decision for the babysitter for the baby. They check the babysitter.
Oh.
2 more minutes.
Or where the babies?
Because they
Where is the
need
babysitting?
another place, but need to the
So they
babysitter
so
for
they
the baby.
so they should find a babysitter. They should
Yeah,
find a reliable babysitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes you have to go out, right? You can't stay with the baby all the time. You need a little break sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they just move to a new.
Carmela and Hugo.
Mhm.
Carmela and Hugo have to make decision by themselves.
They have to make their own decisions.
Have to.
Mhm. So you feel very strong. It's necessary, right? You have to make your own
Yeah,
decisions.
necessary. No resolve that they father they parent.
Yeah,
Only
don't run to mommy and daddy every time, right?
Yeah.
You have to make your
Yeah,
own
no
decisions
more.
in life.
No
Yeah,
more.
they are adults, right? They are
Yes.
adults. They are married. They have to make their own
Yes.
decisions. for sure.
Okay.
Yes.
I have the two 30 years, 20 years, 29 years.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, they have to. They still ask for advice, right? That's right.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay, try one. And Chu and Su Ming living in studio apartment. They should find a new place
Carmela
to
and
live.
They
Hugo,
should find
Carmela
a
and Hugo
new.
don't have to
It's
call
correct,
parent
teacher.
about the
It's
baby.
correct. They should find
Don't have to.
a new place to live.
They should find a new place to live. I agree. All right. I'm gonna send you back to the main room. Okay. So we'll see you there in a few minutes. Okay.
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 Thank you, teacher.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
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 Welcome back. Everybody's coming back. Yes.
Yes, teacher.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Welcome back, everybody. Let's look at these together and tell me what you guys decided about them, how important they are. Okay. Can everybody see the page?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So let me ask you about different people. Let's see. Carmela and Hugo, what do you think about try to meet new people? You think they should, they have to, they ought to, they had better? What do you think?
They
Don't
should
have-
try.
They should try to meet
Try
new
to
people.
meet.
They sure.
What about calling the parents for every problem?
They shouldn't.
Could.
They shouldn't.
Could.
They shouldn't call
They
the parents.
shouldn't. Yeah.
They shouldn't call their
Yeah.
parents for every problem. What about
Shouldn't.
learning how to manage money?
They have to learn.
I think so. Pretty important, right?
Yes.
They have to learn how to manage money.
Mhm.
Try to do everything perfectly.
Good.
Don't have to.
Kevin.
They could.
Have to.
No, they.
Cool.
Is it a
No.
Don't
It
have
is
to.
important.
you don't have to
too.
do everything perfectly, right? You don't have to do everything perfectly. Do your best. Just do your best. All right. What about Chul and Sun Mi?
Only they need to be happy.
Yeah, that's right. Just be happy.
Not perfect.
What about buying baby furniture?
For
They have to.
They have to buy
They
baby
have
furniture,
to.
right? What about asking a lot of questions?
They
shouldn't.
They should ask a lot of questions, especially
Yeah.
to other moms, right? When you have a new baby, you always have other moms who can help you, right?
Yes.
So they should ask other parents some questions if they have questions, right? What about finding a new place to live?
They have to.
they have to.
They have to
Yeah.
find a
They
new
have
place to live. Mhm. They have to. It's necessary, right? A little studio apartment for 3 people? No. All right. What about Kevin? He started his first job and he still lives with his parents. Should he follow his parents' advice?
No.
Or not?
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's still living.
There's always a debate about this question, isn't there? Some people say, yes, follow the parents' advice. Yes, of course. And then everybody else says, no, he doesn't have to follow the parents' advice. All right. So what about making decisions by himself?
They have. They
He
have
has
to
to,
make.
he has to make his own decisions, right? He has to make his own decisions. What
They
about
have to be.
what about being responsible?
They have to be responsible too.
Very important, right?
Very important.
Should be responsible, or he had better be responsible.
Yeah.
Yes.
What about volunteering?
Don't have
They
to.
should.
He doesn't have to volunteer, or he could volunteer. Should volunteer,
Doesn't
right? No problems?
No problem.
No problem.
No problems. Excellent. Okay. Very, very nice. Okay. Now, we're going to go backwards in the book, and we're going to do the listening practice on the previous page. Here it is. Everybody see the beginning listening practice? Let's see what we got here. we have a lady, her name is Sarah. And do you see the picture
Yes.
of Sarah?
Yeah.
Sarah's picture, she's having trouble, right?
Yeah.
Because here's her boss, Mr. Stanley, right? Is Mr. Stanley happy?
No.
No.
No, why is he upset?
So mad.
He had a headache.
Maybe Sarah's having problems being on time, right?
Mhm.
Right? And Mike over here is Sarah's friend, and Mike is going to take her to picture number 5, the DMV.
DMV.
Oh.
So this is a story about a woman, Sarah, who is always late for work. So she decides she needs a driving license. And her friend Mike is going to take her to the driving test. So in this conversation, you're going to hear a lot of should, have to, have got to, things like that, because we're going to hear some advice and some problems. All right. So we have, you see Sarah, she's got some problems, right? The first problem is she can't sleep. Mike is going to give her 3 pieces of advice. So we are listening for 3 problems and 3 pieces of advice. Okay? So I'm going to turn off your microphones, and then we're going to listen to the story. It's only about 2 minutes long, but I'm going to turn off the microphones for 2 minutes, and we're going to listen. And you're going to take notes about what is Sarah's problems and what is Mike's advice. Okay? So let me push a couple buttons here. Push one button there. Okay. All right. Here we go. Let's listen and see if we can write down the problems and the advice. The problems and the advice. Whoops.
Is 2A and 2B.
Can everybody
Part
hear?
1.
Give me a thumbs up if you
Cindy,
can hear.
have you seen Sarah?
No, I don't think she's here yet.
She should have been here 25 minutes ago. Did she call to say she'd be late?
No, she didn't. Good morning, Mr. Stanley.
Good morning, Sarah.
I'm sorry. I know I'm late, but the buses are so unreliable.
I don't know about the buses, Sarah, but I do know that if you're late one more time, I'm gonna have to fire you.
Part 2.
Thanks for picking me up, Mike.
No problem.
We have to hurry. My driving test is in half an hour.
We have plenty of time. The DMV is just 10 minutes from here.
All right.
Are you okay? You seem tense.
Yeah, I'm pretty stressed out.
How come?
I was late to work again this morning.
Oh, no.
And the boss said that if it happens again, he's gonna fire me.
No wonder you're stressed out.
I'm so worried about losing my job. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I can't concentrate.
You know, Sarah, if you're not feeling well, you don't have to take the driving test today.
Yes, I do, Mike. I have to pass this driving test so I can get my license and buy a car and stop depending on buses.
Okay, I understand. But if you want to pass the test, then you have to calm down. Try to relax. Take a few deep breaths.
Okay.
Now think positive thoughts. Tell yourself, I'm a good driver. I'm gonna pass my driving test.
I'm a good driver. I'm gonna pass my driving test.
Seriously, Sarah, you ought to learn some techniques for coping with anxiety.
Like what?
Simple stuff. Like I said, deep breathing is good, thinking positive thoughts, and I find that it helps me to meditate every day.
Meditation. Let's talk about it later. Here's the DMV.
Good luck, and don't forget, you're a good driver.
Thanks, Mike. You're a good friend.
All right. There we go. Okay, let me turn everybody's microphone back on. All right. So did you get 3 problems?
Yes.
Yeah.
And 3 suggestions?
Yes.
Yes.
So what were the 3 problems? They were all can't, right? She
She
can't,
can eat,
can't sleep,
can sleep,
can't eat,
and she can
can't
concentrate.
concentrate. Right? She can't sleep, can't eat, can't concentrate.
Can concentrate.
All right. And Mike said you should do 3 things, right? What was the first thing?
Keep a breather.
Calm down,
Breathe,
Don't have to
breathing.
take the test.
calm down, breathing
But,
technique.
but what was the first advice? You say you should
Breathe.
Concentrate. Calm down.
deep breathing, right?
Deep breathing.
Deep breathing.
Deep breathing,
Deep
right?
breathing.
Deep breathing was the first advice. I mean, he said you don't have to take the test right now, but he says you have to calm down, right? And we said, well, how can I calm down? 3 ideas, right? Deep breathing,
Think positive.
positive thoughts, right? Think positive.
Think positive. Calm.
And
Positive,
finally,
calm. Meditation.
meditation, right?
Meditation.
Right? So deep breathing, positive thoughts, and meditation.
Meditation.
Right? Those were the 3 ideas. Those were the
Mhm.
3 ideas he had for his friend. And notice the boss said, if you are late one more time, I'm going to have to fire you, right? Have to. It's going to be necessary to fire you. So she said to her friend, I have to pass the driving test, right? I have to pass the driving test. And he says, you don't have to take the test today. It's not necessary to take the test today. No, she says, no, I have to get my license, right? She said, it's necessary. I have to get my license. And he said, well, if you're going to pass the test, you have to calm down, right? You ought to try deep breathing. You should think positive thoughts. And you ought to meditate, right?
Ought to meditate.
Right? Good advice. Should, ought to, had better, right? Should, ought to, had better for advice. Okay? Good. Let's look at the vocabulary from this story. and then tomorrow we're going to look at using all of this stuff in past. Using all of this in past. Okay? Sounds good?
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. But let's take a look here at the story. Let's look at this vocabulary here. All right. Okay, here we go. All right, can everybody see the story on the screen?
Yes.
Uh-oh, I forgot. I have to push one button, sorry. Whenever the sound button is on, the microphones are always terrible. All right. So I have to learn to live with that. Okay, there we go. All right, so the first word is anxiety. Can you pronounce that? Anxiety. Anxiety, right? It's like anxiety. Anxiety means what? You feel very nervous, right? You feel very nervous. You're not calm. It's the opposite of calm, right?
Yes.
Right? So Sarah was feeling anxiety, and her friend told her, you have to calm down. Calm down. Right? Take it easy. Take it easy. Right? And her friend gave her some techniques to cope with stress. To cope with stress. Do we understand cope with?
No.
No, teacher.
Cope with means you have a problem, but you need to learn to live with your problem. Right? It's not good, but you have to cope with it. So for example, you say, oh, my brother has a handicap, but he's learned to cope with his handicap. He doesn't like it. It's not good, but he learns to live with the handicap. To cope with something is to learn to live with it, right? So for example, in Los Angeles, we have to cope with a lot of traffic. We have to cope with a lot of traffic. We don't like it, but we have to learn to live with it, right? Because it's not changing, right? So Sarah said, so her friend Mike said, you have to learn to cope with your stress, right? Because she was going, right? And she says, you have to cope with your stress, You have to calm down. And what was one thing he suggested? He says, how about thinking positive thoughts? Positive thoughts, right? That was one of the techniques that he taught, right? Techniques, right? And what did he say? Try some deep breathing, right?
Breathing.
Deep breathing, right? And Sarah, one of Sarah's problems says, I can't concentrate. And Mike said, why don't you try meditation? That might help because she's feeling very stressed out. And she's feeling also very tense. Right. She's feeling stressed out and tense. So Mike gave her some advice, right? So what does it say here? It says, Mike is driving Sarah to the Department of Motor Vehicles, DMV, to take her driving test. He notices that she's very tense, right? She says that she is stressed out. She's stressed out. She's not feeling good at all. She's feeling stressed out. She's feeling stressed out. Why? Because she was late to work again. She's feeling stressed out. Okay? She's worried that her boss will fire her if she is late one more time. She's so afraid of losing her job that she can't eat, she can't sleep, and she can't concentrate. Right? Those were the three problems. I can't sleep, I can't eat, I can't concentrate. All right? Mike says, hey, por favor, you have to
Calm down.
calm down. If you want to pass your driving test, you have to calm down. Calm down. Yeah, calm down, right? Remember, calm is an adjective. When we use the verb, we say calm down. Right? I don't just say calm. I say calm down. Right? You can say I am calm, but you need to calm down. Calm down. All right. He suggests three what?
Techniques.
Three ways, right? Technique is a way. Three techniques to help her what?
Cope with
her anxiety, right? To help her cope with her anxiety. To help her cope with her anxiety. All right, the first one, deep breathing. Deep breathing. Deep breathing will help cope with the anxiety. All right, and the second one, thinking positive thoughts, right? Get that negative out. All right, and finally, the third one is
meditation.
Very good. Very good. No problems?
No problem.
Not too bad. Not too bad. All right. Let's listen to this story. I'm going to turn off the mics and we'll listen to the story and then we'll wrap up the class for tonight. Pay special attention to the pronunciation of the vocabulary. All right. Let's listen to this little story. Here we go. Move that out of the way.
Page 45. Exercise 3A.
Mike is driving Sarah to the Department of Motor Vehicles, DMV, to take her driving test. He notices that she's very tense. Sarah says she's stressed out because she was late to work again. She's worried that her boss will fire her if she's late one more time. She's so afraid of losing her job that she can't eat, she can't sleep, and she can't concentrate. Mike says that she has to calm down if she wants to pass her driving test. He suggests 3 techniques to help her cope with her anxiety. One is deep breathing. The second one is thinking positive thoughts. And the third one is meditation.
There we go. Very good. All right. Let's stop the share. I'll turn your microphones back on. All right, we feel good?
Yes.
Yes.
Good.
All right, let's go around in a circle one last time, and I'm going to give you a problem, and you give me some advice. Okay? Let's see. Claudia. You ready, Claudia?
Yes.
I want to buy a nice present for my wife for her birthday.
Okay, you could buy earrings.
Buy her some earrings, right? And that was very good, Claudia. Claudia used the word could because it wasn't that strong, right? There were many good presents for a wife. So she said could. It was perfect, right? David,
Yes,
I have a problem.
Okay.
My neighbor's dog is always using my yard for a bathroom.
You you have to build a new wall.
But they'll build a wall, huh?
Yeah. Or you have.
I could call Donald Trump. He can build a wall between the between the two. No dogs inside, right? Okay. So you think I have to build a barrier?
Oh, you have to put a new fence.
A new fence. Okay. I'll put up a fence. Okay. Very good. All right. Isadora, I have a problem. Let's see. My daughter is dating a boy, but I don't like him.
You have to talk with your.
Oh yeah, that'll work. That'll work. Yeah, that always works.
You need to be patient.
Yeah, I need to be patient. I need to keep my mouth shut.
because the boyfriend is for her.
Yeah. It's impossible to change her mind. So I have to be I have to be patient, right?
You have to be patient.
And she will figure it out by herself. My daughter is single right now, so no problems there. I'm glad she got rid of the boyfriend who I didn't like very much. So now we have a fresh start. All right, let's see. Julio.
Yes.
I have a problem. I need to lose 20 pounds. Next one we talked about.
I think you should get a diet.
Yeah, I should go on a
Eat
diet.
healthier.
I should eat healthier. Should do exercise.
You
All
should
right.
do some workout.
Work out every day. All right, Leonardo. I have a problem. Let's see. My computer is very slow. You have an idea, Leonardo?
She's not there, I think so.
I don't know.
You should buy a new laptop, a new computer.
I ought to buy a new computer. Okay.
You should buy a new
Another one. You should buy another one.
You should buy a new computer. Okay. All right. David Segovia.
Yes, teacher.
I have a problem.
What's your problem?
Sometimes my students are very noisy in their rooms.
You better tell them be quiet.
Yeah, I think so. All right. Maria Ponce de Leon.
You just do the
you want to talk about this one, right? I must tell them to turn off their microphones, right? Very good. Ching, I have a problem.
Okay.
Let's see. I have a high fever.
You had better to visit family doctor.
Visit the doctor. Okay, and better call up the doctor. Get an appointment.
Yeah.
Okay. Edith, I have a problem.
What is wrong with you, teacher?
I have a big list. I have a big list of what's wrong with me. You want to talk to my wife? I can bring my wife over here. She could tell you a lot of things. A lot of things. Here's my problem. My friend's wedding is on the same day as my vacation. So what should I do?
Ay, ay, ay. You should change. You should change the date of your vacation.
I should change the vacation for a
Yeah.
good friend. Okay, all right. You're a good friend. You're obviously a good friend. I say, here's a card. I'll see you later. All right. And let's see. Noel, I have a problem.
Yes.
I think my neighbor is selling drugs.
Maybe you should call the police.
Maybe I should call the police and have them investigate, right?
Yeah.
All right, good. So if I think something is necessary, what do I say? You
have to.
You have to.
You have to.
If I think it's very important, you
Had better.
had better.
Had better.
If I think it's a good idea, you
should.
You should or you ought to. Both are okay, right? And if I think something is an option, but there are other good ideas too,
You could.
you could, right?
You could.
Right. So strongest, you have to, right? Then you had better. Then you should and ought to. And finally, you could.
You could.
No problem?
No, no problem.
No problem. No problem.
No
All right.
problem. Did you see the quiz?
Until we see the quiz, yes. Well, no quiz this week, so you're in luck. We won't have a quiz till next week, so no quiz this weekend. So and also remember, everybody, Monday's a holiday, right? So so we're not going to have a class on Monday evening, but we do have one more class this week, right? And then on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to finish the chapter. Okay. Tomorrow we're going to talk about using should, and this is something. Oh, he's not here right now. Jose was asking me about when do you use should have, and that's when we have advice in the past. Should have, and we're going to talk about that tomorrow night. Okay. So we learned about should tonight. Tomorrow night, should have. Okay.
Should have.
Okay, sounds good, everybody?
Thank you.
Gracias a todos. Thank you, everybody. You did fantastic as usual. You guys are so fantastic. This is my best online class for sure. For
Thank
sure.
you.
All right,
Thank
you guys
you.
are doing great. All right,
Bye.
have a
Good
great
night.
evening. We'll
Bye.
talk to you again on Thursday night. Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Teacher.